Hello and welcome to Coffee with Keerthi again. I know it's been a while that we have published a new episode, but today I'm really excited to have with us a fantastic gentleman with us who is I'm actually going to let him tell the story, but his name is Morgan Reynolds, and he's the founder and CEO of a company called Turnkey Futures, the Turnkey Future, and we'll be delving more into the details of what Turnkey does and all of that. So, welcome to Coffee with Keerthi, Morgan. How are you doing today?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing really well, thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for bringing your cup of coffee. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we need to do this all online. So, anyways, um, so Morgan, so we will be starting this interaction with your story, right? I would like you to give us a little background about how you started Turnkey. Is there a background before that you did, some work that has connection to Turnkey, and we will talk about the future of Turnkey, and we'll talk about the other milestones that you have achieved, right? So tell me about the story, right? How did you start Turnkey, and what are you guys doing?
Thanks. Turnkey Future Corporation. It really took off early last year at the beginning of the pandemic, when I created Turnkey Hospital. And that was in response to the hospital bed shortage that we were seeing around the world. The thought process was, there's a hospital shortage everywhere. How do we solve this? We need to do it quickly. We need to do it efficiently. And taking 3 years to build a hospital is not going to work. And also, tents are not going to work for the long term either. So, that was something that we were seeing, very, very early on. It's these temporary structures that just didn't have the staying power and weren't really suitable for what we were dealing with. And so in response to that, I created the Turnkey Hospital, which is a fully equipped, ready to use, permanent hospital facility that could be up and running in 90 days, pretty much anywhere in the world. We sourced suppliers overseas, and basically, customized this solution, and then put that out to the world and said, here's what we've got. It's unique, and it can help solve this problem. And we had a wonderful response from governments all over the world. Basically, one of our first governments that really responded with in the way of a contract was Bolivia. They were highly interested. Their previous administration was highly interested and wanted to see these come in and basically take care of their healthcare needs. And so that was really, I would say, a catalyst for Turnkey Future Corporation taking off. We had interest from governments for 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 hospitals at a time. And so what that said to us was that there was a need that extended far beyond just the pandemic. We found out that many of these countries, they needed hospitals 10 years ago, and now they really needed them because of the pandemic. And so basically, we got a lot of interest from what we put together there. And then from there, it really grew. It was, not only do we need hospitals, but we need affordable housing. Right. And, they said, are you able to do affordable housing in the same sort of fashion where you can produce it in a shorter period of time, affordably, and we can house people quickly, because not only do we have a health crisis, but we also need to put people in houses sooner rather than later. And so essentially we launched the Turnkey Flat, which was another solution for affordable housing, and once again got an absolutely wonderful response from governments around the world for our affordable housing product. And basically it's just growing from there. It's been the response has been wonderful, and it's been exciting to see the company growing and landing large scale contracts, and it's a good time.
Awesome. But so how many hospitals did you guys build in just last year, 2020, when the pandemic happened? How many hospitals were you able to build, and also how many houses or the kind of construction for the housing? How many units did you build in just 1 year?
Well, we are just finalizing our contracts for a number of these hospitals, including Bolivia, as I mentioned, and we expect those to be underway this year. Obviously, there is a lot of additional difficulty dealing with developing nations. Political stability is one of those things. Another one is the pandemic as well, which definitely takes a toll on making these things happen as quickly as you would want. We can build it very fast, but obviously overcoming some of the other hurdles takes time. So we fully expect to have a number of these underway this year, and it's exciting to see that coming together, even though the political aspect of it takes a little longer than you would have desired.
Absolutely. I think there's always a lot of things in between planning and actually executing, and I think a lot of things also when it comes to large scale, a lot of policies need to be aligned with the programs that the government is planning for the citizens of the country, right?
100%. You absolutely got it. The desire can be there, but sometimes there are additional hurdles that you need to overcome just in order to get that going. And when we're dealing with large scale contracts for affordable housing, there is quite a ramp up to getting those underway. So we have a large scale contract for 100,000 affordable homes in Ghana, and that's over a period of years. But as I'm sure you can well imagine, there's a master planning procedure that needs to happen. There's the financing that has to take place first. And so we're, quite far along in that process. And we expect to be breaking ground within the next few months on this 100,000 home project, which is going to make such a huge difference. Like, the social and environmental impact of this is just going to be wonderful. I mean, we're trying to build in and allow for solar energy. We're trying to allow for hydro panels for fresh water. Same with off-grid wastewater management systems. There's so many things that we're trying to accommodate for in this that just really bring that impact to another level, and that's what we want to see, is not just your average affordable housing project. We want to see something that really makes an impact.
Wow. So 100,000 units, that's large scale, very big scale, and you're trying to do you're trying to bring sustainability within that project, right? So
Right.
tell me about your if I have to take an example or understand how your model is different from the existing solutions in terms of hospitals and also in terms of housing, how are you guys different? What is it that, again, sustainability is one thing, but you also talked about these are not temporary structures. These are structures that are going to stay and they can be built within 90 days, right? So
Yeah.
that's like that's something that's like very innovative, like and forward a lot of futuristic thinking, like the name says, Turnkey Future Corporation. So you're very futuristic and you're turning things very fast. So how do you do? Do you guys use 3D modeling or 3D construction? What is it that you're different? How is it you're different from the existing solution?
Yeah, so what makes us different, and you did key onto one of the main factors is our 90-day construction time frame, which is achieved through manufacturing these structures off site and then shipping them to site. So they're virtually, for the most part, finished before they arrive. And then they're just assembled on site. And there's a difference between whether we're talking about the turnkey hospital or whether we're talking about affordable housing. Different prefabrication methods are used, and we prefer to refer to it as turnkey construction, because we're doing it in a way that that allows us to do it quickly, efficiently, and produce quality product as well. So the prefabrication and modular structures don't always have the best reputation when people think about them in the past. But the construction methods and techniques being used today are a lot different than 15, 20 years ago. And the quality is, for the most part, better than what you would see if it was framed or cast on site or built on site in any other form or fashion, because you're building it in a enclosed environment. You get to control everything. There's no weather to contend with. Your product can be well controlled. The materials can be well controlled in terms of the way that they're manufactured. What's brought in can be sifted through and only the best used. Whereas if it's on site and it's in a more remote location, it'd be much more difficult to produce that same quality. You also get to control the fact that your staff are well trained at assembling these units as well. So less requirement and less need for training new staff and potentially having an issue in the assembly or construction end of things. So those make a big difference putting this together. And then once it arrives on site in the example of the turnkey hospital, it's bolt together connections. So literally arrives on site. We've already put the foundation in place. It is bolted together and then stacked. And basically the connections are made between the units, but everything is self-contained in that unit when it arrives. That includes electrical, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Floors are already installed other than just having to seam them. And then our staff would actually connect those units on site, but they basically get craned into place. So all the construction for the most part is done. And then we can ship in anything required in terms of equipment and that sort of thing. And that's why we can have these up and running in such a short period of time. So it's
like Domino's pizza in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should change our tagline.
Yeah, I think because Domino's was one of those pizza companies that changed the whole the how to make pizza thing, right? Because they
Yes.
understood the customer need that by the time they're ordering, they're already hungry, right? The customer was already
Yeah.
hungry, right? Like you said, the governments that you're talking to, or the places, the countries that you're talking to, they want hospitals 10 years back, right? So that's the kind of urgency they have, and I think that's where you bring in the sense of urgency, and you kind of deliver that, right? But all of this is not possible without experience, right? You didn't just yesterday, you just didn't think of it and you just came up with an idea. Okay, we're gonna just assemble things, everything, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of the journey, right? Entrepreneurial journey. So tell me about that. Tell me about your what you are today to maybe 10 years back, your entrepreneurial journey, how you arrived to what you're doing today, and how has the journey been? Has it been exciting? Has it been, I'm sure there's a lot of struggles, there's a lot of hard work, there's sometimes where you feel, no, I just don't want to do it. I quit. Right? That's what a lot of entrepreneurs, including me, we go through this every day, right? So tell us about that. Tell us about your past experience to what you have arrived till today.
Yeah, the the entrepreneurial journey. That's a whole book right there.
I'm
Uh,
telling you to, package it within, like, I don't know,
yeah,
2-3 minutes, your story of about 10 years story. So I know that's a difficult question, but
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur. Um, uh, I would say that's what drove me into running my own businesses and the construction end of things. My dad was a carpenter and his grandpa was a carpenter, and so
wow.
construction was really in the family and a very comfortable place. So with that background, that really led me into the field of construction at a relatively young age. I mean, there's there's pictures of me pushing a broom on
Wow.
my dad's job sites at
Wow.
probably 8 years old.
Wow. I
you
think,
know,
yeah, I can already see that, when you talk about it's an inherited occupation. Yeah.
yeah.
And and and
So
and just to cut you a little bit here. So last time when we spoke, I think you also told me that you will do construction, anytime, even for free of cost, right? So that's your passion for construction. So yes, I want to know more about your entrepreneurship and your journey about construction and all.
yeah, yeah, it's true. I mean, I am passionate about building. I'm passionate about construction. I love what I do.
Mhm.
It's one of those things that I often say. I would do it for free. I would literally continue building things free of cost just because I love building. I love building a structure and knowing that it'll be there for 50 or 100 years after I'm gone. you know,
Yeah.
I love the impact that these structures have, whether they're low rise projects or high rise projects that I've been
Mhm.
involved in. It's always neat to see it, at a later date and know that you played a part and played a role in building that. And you probably know it better than anybody else out there when you look at it and you're going, it's exciting for me.
Mhm.
And obviously you can tell I'm excited about construction. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why I started into this field. And I worked my way up through
Mhm.
being a carpenter, and from a carpenter to a superintendent running projects, and from a superintendent to a project manager overseeing projects, and then
Mhm.
from there to a construction manager overseeing entire departments, and then helping other people manage their companies, and
Mhm.
from there managing my own companies. um, People were requesting that I do projects for them specifically, and they said, Morgan, we want to work with you. We love we love your passion, we love what you're about, and we want to work with you. And so that really put me into the space where I am now, running my own firm. It's exciting. I love it. I
Nice.
just love what it's all about.
So Morgan, how about building, something on moon? How about being the first to build something on moon? Does that sound exciting?
Well, wouldn't that be exciting?
I know. I just
I would,
I just gave you a dream. I just gave you a dream.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. And you know what? Like, I see, for Turnkey Future Corporation, I see so much potential here. I see us being one of the largest affordable home builders in the world at some point. I see us making a real impact on people's lives with affordable housing and healthcare. The healthcare end of things is really near and dear to us too, being able to make that impact. And, those things can serve as a catalyst for really exciting things like you mentioned, like, putting prefabricated and turnkey structures in space, building these turnkey structures in low Earth orbit and cislunar structures as well. This is all exciting stuff that really isn't that far out there. I mean, there's companies already working on the 3D printing technology to fabricate these structures that would be mega structures beyond the size of anything we've ever seen on Earth, because you no longer have gravity causing you to limit the size. It can be virtually any size. So exciting. The future is amazing. And wouldn't it be neat to be doing that in, the next 15, 20 years?
I know. And leave a legacy and all that wonderful stuff. So, but also, other than construction and other than working on turnkey, you're also the international partner for World Business Angel Investment Forum, right? Tell me about that.
Yeah.
What do you do there? So can I send you an application and get about, let's say $100 million tomorrow for funding for my company?
So it's really neat organization that's been put together, and mainly my role in there is acting kind of as a liaison in a volunteer position, and that would be helping startups, scale ups, and other businesses, really getting them in touch with the resources they need. So they may reach out to me, and I've had a number of different businesses reach out. They might send me a pitch deck and chat with me and say, hey, we are looking for funding. We're looking for, some advice. We're looking for, a critique on what we've got put together. And I'll have a call with them and really, go over where they're at and what they need and how I can assist them. And that's really what the, World Business Angels is all about, is providing that additional support. And if that means connecting them to potential funding sources as well, then definitely we'll look at that as well. So it's wonderful, and it's all over the globe, and it's a really, really neat organization, and it really taps into that entrepreneurial spirit and wanting to help entrepreneurs as well. So
Awesome.
I love it, and I like being a part of it.
I think next time when I talk to you, I will bring you some startups that would love to talk to you and get so I find myself also as a catalyst by maybe connecting the startups to the resources that we're always looking for, because the startups are solving problems for us, right? And that's when they need help. And you also mentor, right? So that's my next question. So you mentor startups, you mentor people. What is your role? Uh, uh, how do you take on any mentees? You know, if before you say yes to anybody and mentor them, what is your criteria? What do you look into when you say yes? I want to help you with some guidelines, some, I don't know, maybe resources and all of that. So, what is your process of mentoring?
Um, so, uh, me personally, I guess when we're talking about taking on uh, people or groups of people who may have an idea or a business and they're looking for a mentor, um, you know, I, I would say that there is no hard and fast kind of criteria where I would say, I will mentor you and um, and not somebody else.
Okay.
I'm fairly accessible in the sense of if you reach out and you've got passion and you've got a business idea and you're excited about making something work, and you're looking for some advice and you're looking for some direction. Oftentimes, I certainly, when I have that time, I will say, yeah, let's have a quick call. Let's have a
Mhm.
chat. I'll see if I can,
Nice.
at least point you in the right direction. And sometimes it's just a 15-minute call or a 30-minute call. And then that can point somebody in the right direction for the next, however many weeks or months, because obviously there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done after the call.
Absolutely.
And and so those sorts of things. I think one of the biggest things that I personally look for when I start into that process with someone is a passion for what they're doing. Really, like they're excited about it. They want to learn. They want to know how to make things better. They want to know what their next steps are. And it's not just a kind of a in the moment thing.
True.
They're not just at that moment going, oh, I thought about building a business once, and so let's have a call, and maybe
Yeah.
maybe I will, maybe I won't, right? you
True.
know that that would probably be a person I would be less inclined
True.
to
True.
mentor,
True.
rather than
Absolutely.
someone who says, I've been at this for years, on my own, and I've made it this far, and I'm
Right.
stuck, and I need a little bit of help. And how do I
Mhm.
get to the next level? How do I get to the next stage? And then at that point, I can say, here's some direction. Or if
True.
I don't know, here's who I can put you in touch with.
Mhm.
Or those sorts of things. That's where I really come in handy. I've built businesses from conception to completion,
Awesome.
scaled them globally, and
Awesome.
and so I've got a lot of experience at every stage of the business, and I can really provide that insight. Somebody is building their business and they're like, we're growing exponentially. How do we deal
Awesome.
with it? Great.
Awesome.
I know where to guide you. I know what you should be looking for. I know some
Mhm.
pitfalls you should watch out for. Or somebody says, I'm going global. Where do I
Right.
start? Okay,
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
I've got direction for you. you know,
I
so
think I think that's
yeah.
exactly what entrepreneurs need, and like you rightly pointed out, if somebody's been doing something for years, that means they are not just passionate, but they actually live on it, right? For people who live on something, that's those are the people who really, I also look forward to meeting and to talking, to interacting, to helping, to actually collaborate also, right? So that's the kind of thing people, everybody loves to talk to, rather than just saying, yeah, I want to do something, it's like casual. And but I think everyone finds their way. Um, So going back to Turnkey, Morgan, um, tell me about the difficult part, right? You told me about the nice things about assembling, the nice things about, everything happens in 90 days and all of that. And you already have the staff which is trained and all of that. These are all really good things that you have accomplished, I would say, over the years. But I know business is not easy, right? Everyone knows this. So what are the difficulties that happens, like operations wise and also finance wise, and because these are not like smaller units that you're dealing with hundreds and thousands of units, where things can go wrong anytime, right? So tell me about the difficulties um, that you face.
Sure. Yeah, there's always difficulties in every business that need to be overcome. When you're dealing with something at scale, it has its own set of problems. I would say that I would say that probably one of the most difficult things uh, when you're dealing with construction on this scale, like multi-billion-dollar projects. The 100,000 units, that's a 4.6 billion
Wow.
US project
Huge.
over a number of years. And I would say that, when I dove into this and we had this product created and it got traction, one of the biggest things that we encountered was the challenge of financing these large scale projects for developing nations. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges. And one of the things that, I don't think is well known, unless you're really in this field, is there's probably only, maybe between 15 and 25, companies, people in the world who can finance these types of projects on that multi-billion-dollar scale. So the pool of potential companies, the pool of potential financiers is incredibly small to make these things go. So if you can overcome that hurdle and secure the financing for these projects, for these developing nations, that is really one of the biggest things you need to overcome. After that, you start dealing with having the right people. That's a big thing. Having the right people with the right experience who have built multi-billion-dollar projects and obviously can deliver on these projects. That's another challenge right there. There are people who are very skilled at delivering projects on this scale, but once again, you're dealing with a small pool of people for the financing. You're dealing with a relatively small pool of people with the experience level to manage projects on this scale and of this size. And you need to locate those people and bring them on board and have your team, secured and ready to roll when this project is ready to roll. So those are other challenges that you encounter dealing at this sort of scale. I think other things that they come into play when you're dealing with other continents, as I for developing nations, there can be business is done differently in many of these areas, in many of these countries. Business is done differently in the sense of what might take you, let's say, just for example, something might take you a week in North America. And I'm very familiar with the North American market because that's the
Okay.
primary skill set on myself.
Okay.
And then when we move into South America, and we move into Africa, and we move into some of these other areas, something that might have taken, maybe a few days or a week,
Mhm.
all of a sudden can take 4 weeks or 6
Wow.
weeks.
Wow.
And the time frames really don't correlate at all to
Mhm.
what you might be used to. And that's why you need those experienced staff who have specifically built in these areas.
Mhm.
And that's what, and those are the people that we definitely brought on for these projects. But I found that personally to be a very interesting learning experience, to go, okay, so this should, in my
Mhm.
eyes, take a week. And then 4 weeks later, it comes around and we go, well, what took so long? And the reality is that, what took so long is their systems and processes aren't developed. They're dealing with poor infrastructure, even to get around their cities. You're dealing with issues with even power outages and things like that in Africa and different places. We might want to have a call, or we might want to connect at a certain time, and we can't.
Right.
Even though that was the plan. And so we deal with different set of problems that you might not experience elsewhere, and it just takes longer.
So I think you have understood that you need to have a buffer time to kind of work in other places other than, let's say, North America or European countries, because I think resources and infrastructure in different countries are different, and those are the challenges. And also, I think it also has to do more with culture. When you go to other continents, I'm sure there is a cultural shift from what happens in North America is different from what happens in African continent or maybe Asia or in other places. So, anyways, I think, but challenges are part of the game, right? So tell me about the milestones. So this is a two-part question. So tell me about the milestones, and tell me about you've kind of already told this, but I think I want to have a detailed understanding of what is the vision that you have for Turnkey Future, right? What is the vision? What do you see Turnkey happening in the next 5 to 10 years? And what have you achieved till now, right? What are the milestones that you guys have achieved till now? And what do you see in the next 5 to 10 years happening?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that our milestones over this past year and a bit here would be initially securing a contract for the Turnkey Hospital in Bolivia, and that was definitely a milestone to show that there was a need, and that our product was well positioned for what people were looking for. And then, our next milestone would definitely be moving into the large scale affordable housing market as well. And once again, showing that, we are well positioned and, right on that price point, and targeting the right markets as well that were in need of this product rather, that could make a real impact. So I would say those are some of the biggest milestones at this point. The vision moving forward, as you mentioned, we kind of touched on it earlier. I can see Turnkey Future Corporation being one of the largest affordable housing providers in the world, in addition to providing the affordable health care as well, via the Turnkey Hospital. That is another product that is desperately needed and gaining traction as well. So those are two really, really big things that are exciting. And
Yeah,
will
yeah,
build
that's
us in the future.
I think, and I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. Um, and in the meanwhile, I want to know you. We have less time, but I also want to know about you as a person, right? What who do you look up to? Who's your role model, and what kind of books do you read? Or do you have any favorites? So tell us about your role model and any books that you would like to tell us about that you really like.
Sure. I think that it's interesting because over the years the business role models change,
Yeah.
as time changes too, and who you look to for motivation changes also. Like I started out at I was probably 15 years old and I was listening to Tony Robbins tapes,
Wow.
and
I know, I know,
and
I know. I
getting
know
my
what
motivation.
that does to your brain.
That's exactly right.
I know.
And so, yeah, that was, I mean, at an early age, that's what I looked to for, say, motivation. I was okay. I was listening to the Tony Robbins tapes at 15 years old, and reading his books, and then obviously diving into different business books along the way as well, and then more recently, I would say, and role models at that time would be looking at my dad and his entrepreneurial spirit and the work he was doing, and then as I grew older, I would say that those role models changed, and I look at I listen to, say, Ed Milet is my new kind of motivational
Wow.
speaker that I love to listen to, and in terms of business, I think not just myself, but many people obviously look at people like people used to look at Bill Gates, and now they look at Elon Musk and they
Yeah.
go,
I
the stuff that he's doing is amazing,
right.
and I really admire his fail fast and fail often approach.
Uh-huh.
um you see it. I mean, the guy is literally blowing up rockets every
Yeah.
week and learning from it, and then goes and does it again and says, we're allowed to fail here,
Yeah.
as long as we don't dwell on our mistakes and we improve every time.
Absolutely.
That's true entrepreneurial spirit. Like
Absolutely.
failing, getting up, doing it again,
Again.
failing again, getting up, doing it
I
again
know.
until you succeed. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, those are kind of some of my current, I guess that's my current role model, and the way I
Yeah.
find some motivation.
I think we have common role models that way. When I was growing up, for me, Bill Gates, I used to call myself as Bill Gates, but that's another story to be told. But growing up, really, really loved what Bill Gates did, and had a lot of following and all of that. But now today, like you said, Elon Musk, definitely, I think those are the couple of people. I follow them on Twitter. I don't have a lot of people that I follow. I follow, I think, 3 or 4 people. One is Bill Gates. The other one is Elon Musk and Warren Buffett, and the fourth one is Richard Branson. So that's it.
Yeah,
I
same
don't
here.
I don't follow more people. I don't have time to follow more people. But but I think that also talks a lot about when you talk about following somebody who fails fast and kind of gets up again and starts doing it again. It takes a lot of courage because for an entrepreneur, I think every day an entrepreneur psychologically goes through a lot of challenges in his or her mind because the society that we live in is not entrepreneur friendly. You know, they don't let you do what you want to do. They would want your life to be straightforward as a straight line, right? But entrepreneurship is not like that. Entrepreneurship is always, it's, you don't know what's going to happen next, but you're still there, right? So tell me about, in fact, tell our audience about, your piece of advice for entrepreneurs who are either aspiring to be an entrepreneur or who are already in, in a venture, or even students. What is your message for them or advice for them?
Well, I think that the things that I tell myself, and the way that I keep going, and in spite of things that may not work out, is number one, there is no can't. Can't doesn't exist. It's there's always a way to make it work. So you need to be resourceful, and you need to find a way to make it work. So don't say you can't do it. So to myself, I go, there is no can't. And then, never give up, never quit. You're going to encounter, more situations that don't work than work, but they don't all have to be winners. You can have difficult times and fail for 4 years straight, and on the 5th year you can be the biggest thing on the planet.
Right.
So don't quit, don't give up. And if you fail, don't dwell on it either. Right. Just fail fast, fail forward, keep going. So it's not going to work out all the time. Actually, in fact, most of the time, it's probably not going to work out if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying something new. But learn from the mistake, improve next time, and move forward, right? And I would say those are the things that I live by, and that help drive me forward and have helped me keep going when things weren't going perfect. Or far from perfect at times, but it's the perseverance. And I think one of my favorites is, it's not about your resources, it's about being resourceful. Wow. So that's probably my all-time favorite, because many entrepreneurs out there, they don't have the resources. They don't have, they go, many people go, it'd be so much easier if I had $10 million, I could just make this happen. Right. Well, that's not the reality. Right. So you need to find a way, you need to be resourceful, and you need to reach out to those people that either have the money, have the expertise, are willing to work with you, and find a way to make it work without $10 million in your bank account, to start out, because that's not the reality. And that might be, the best case scenario, but just be resourceful. Find a way to make it work.
I think that's a really, really good advice for everyone who's an entrepreneur, because there's always a way to do things, right? There's always a way.
Absolutely.
For people who want to do things, and people who don't want to do things, they have a lot of experience, right? But thank you very much, Morgan. I think I have enjoyed this thoroughly, the interaction here, and I look forward to seeing those great structures, to seeing the impact that you're going to have in the world. I'm sure, maybe not today, but another 5-10 years, I will have you, as my role model, doing something like Elon Musk, and I think that's where you are headed, and I wish you all the very best. I wish you build something so awesome that you will be remembered for years to come. So God bless you, and thank you so very much for coming on Coffee with Keerthi.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful having a chat with you. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing it again in the future.
Definitely. I would love to have you again. Thanks so very much, Morgan. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.